Who's ready for language? Really? That's all I get. Guys, come on. It's Tuesday. It's a nice cloudy day. It's language time. All right, fine. Well, I'm excited for language, and we're going to have a good time with it today. So we've been reviewing our parts of speech. One that I want to go back to today is our pronouns. Remember our pronouns that we've been learning? And we've learned pronouns that would be in the subjective part of our sentence, in the subject part, and then some that are in the predicate part of our sentence. And that's how we're going to choose which pronouns to use. So our ones that are in the subject part of our sentence are I, you, he, she, it, we, they, remember? And then the ones that we would find in the predicate part of our sentence are me, you, him, her, it, us, them. So good. Say the subject ones again. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And the predicate part ones again. Me, you, him, her, it, us, and them. So as we look at our sentences on the board, we have two sentences. I'm going to try to, not that side. I'm going to try to go in a little bit closer so you can see them a little bit better. And we've got some pronouns that we need to figure out. So it says, Alex and I, or me, are in third grade. So the first thing that we need to do when we're looking at this is figure out where this pronoun comes. Where is our subject-predicate divide? Well, most of you are already kind of yelling it out at me. Our subject-predicate divide would be where? Right after the I or me, right? So now we look and we figure out what is our predicate, what is our verb. The verb is are, one of our being verbs, okay? And then we ask who or what are. Alex. And where is this? It's in the subject part of our sentence. So which one is it going to be? Right, I. It's in the subject part. We use the subjective pronoun I. So Alex and I are in third grade. Okay, not Alex and me. Me would be in the predicate part. So Alex and I are in third grade. Good. And now we have Casey gave that notebook to I or me. And again, we have to decide where's our subject predicate divide. Good. Right after Casey, what's our verb in that sentence? Gave. Excellent. Gave. Who or what gave? Casey gave. Super, super, super job. So now, when we see where our pronoun is, that gives us a hint. If our pronoun is in the predicate part of the sentence, which one is it going to be? We're going to use me. And you are probably already thinking, well, it doesn't sound right to say Casey gave that notebook to I. Right, and that's good that you can hear that, but we need to understand why it's not I, because sometimes it might sound better with the word that we think, but it might not be the case. So knowing that the which ones go in the predicate side, me, you, him, her, it, us, them, or which ones go in the subject side, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Okay, so definitely think those through, review those pronouns so that you will be able to remember how those work together. Okay, that's very important. Now, I'm going to read some words. If the word that I read is a verb, you are going to hop up and jog in place for 2 seconds. If the word that I read is a noun, you're just gonna lay flat out on the ground, okay? So if the word I say is a verb, you have to hop up, jog in place for 2 seconds, and if it's a noun, you fall flat on the ground and just stay there as a thing. You're just a thing on the ground, okay? Fell. Yes, you should be going, because fell is something you do. It's falling, okay? Stopping. Right, stop is something that you do. You're going and then you stop, okay? So you should be jogging in place. Tree. That was a good fall. Some of you are very dramatic. I like that. And some of you didn't do anything and you need to. So get up and, well, get down and lay flat, or get up and do your running. Walking. Obviously, yes, you're going to get up and move. Sidewalk. Yeah, just because it has the word walk in it doesn't mean it's a verb. A sidewalk is just a thing. It's a noun, so you should be laying flat on the ground. Books. Yes, they're things, so laid flat on the ground. Sit. Yes, you should be up and doing your little running in place for 2 seconds. Tripped. Yes, running in place for 2 seconds. Tense. Yeah, tense is a thing. So you should be laying flat on the ground. Raining, which it's supposed to do today. Not good. Very good. You should be jogging in place because rain is something that happens, something that can be done. Okay? So hopefully you got all of those correct and got a little bit of blood flow in your brain and in your body, so you're ready for language like I was saying originally anyway. So hopefully that you got those correct. Now, I've got some more sentences on the board here that are going to go along with our adjectives and adverbs. So like I said, we've learned what pronouns are, we've learned what verbs are, what nouns are, what adjectives are, what adverbs are. We're just learning all these amazing parts of speech. So I'll do, like I said, the parts of speech songs in a separate video so that you can always go back and listen to them and just enjoy those. But then make sure that you know from that chart that I showed you yesterday what an adjective is. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. An adverb is a word that describes a verb. And then we know nouns and subjects, verbs, pronouns, all of those, okay? Thinking those through carefully. So look at our sentence. It says the little boy beat the wow. Let's start that again. So make sure you know those, okay? Yeah. And I've got some sentences on the board that I want us to look at. So let's look at the first sentence. The little boy beat the toy drum loudly. Did it. Got it. Whew, I did it. See? Yeah. Anyway, the little boy beat the toy drum loudly. So what you're going to do is mark the sentence completely. We're going to mark everything that's there. So I want you to look at it carefully and follow along with me so you're doing it correctly. Some of you are still not completely doing all of the marking. So you've got to get the marking down, because on the test, if you're not marking it all, it's going to be points and points and points. And we don't want that. We want you just to get good, solid grades, okay? And some of you did very well on the quiz, but some of you left some things that you needed to kind of just kind of get down securely. So the first thing that we do is we look and we ask, where is our subject predicate divide, right? The little boy beat the toy drum loudly. It would be right after boy, okay, right? Very good. And then we look and see, well, what is our verb? The verb is beat. That's why we put the line right in front of beat, because beat is the verb. So we underline the verb twice. Underline the verb twice, okay? Then we ask who or what beat. And when we find that subject, boy, remember not little boy, just boy, who or what beat boy, we underline that once, okay? Verb twice, and you guys know this because we've done it for 7, 8 weeks now. We've done these subject predicate divide and the underlining, you know these, okay? Subject once, verb twice. Now, what you're going to do is look at all your nouns. Draw a box around all your nouns. So boy is still a noun, so we're gonna box it. That'll make it easier to see. What else? Not toy, because toy is actually a different thing, because it's not talking about a toy, it's talking about a drum. He'd be a drum. So drum is actually our noun. So what do you think toy would be? Yes, I heard some of you say it. Those of you who haven't figured it out yet, you have a little bit of time because I'm gonna step back from that and start from the beginning again. So after we box our nouns, then we are going to look for our adjectives. And when we find our adjectives, we're going to circle the adjectives, draw an arrow from the adjective to the word it describes. So boy, is there anything that describes boy? Well, that's obvious, little, okay? Little boy, what kind of boy? Not big boy, not older boy, but little boy, okay? So little describes boy. And good, some of you got that. The, circle it, draw the arrow. They're great. If I don't see 2 arrows, I have to take off points. There's points for every box, every circle, every arrow, every underline. Don't miss points for those foolish things when you know to do those, okay? Now, let's look for any adjectives for drum. Now, some of you figured it out. Yes, toy is telling what kind of drum. It wasn't a real drum. It wasn't a snare drum. It wasn't a bass drum. It was a toy drum. And then the is always, always, always an adjective, okay? Then we can look at the last word in the sentence. Oh, it ends in ly. Let's think. Beat the drum how? Loudly. Very good. So we're going to circle loudly as well and draw an arrow. I'm going to go this way because I don't want to, but you guys can go over top. So you could go over top of the arrows that are going to drum and go to beat, okay? So that I know that you know loudly is describing beat, okay? So that's what I love about language. You can take every word of the sentence and figure out what it is. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. We know adjective, adjective, noun, verb, adjective, adjective, noun, adverb. How cool, right? All right, so now let's look at the next one. It says, Mrs. Gable's students listened closely to her instructions. Where do we have our subject predicate divide? Think carefully. Mrs. Gable's students listened closely to her instructions. I think I heard some of you say after Mrs. Gable's. So that means that students would be the predicate side. Is students something you can do? No, right? Students are people, okay? So if it's a person, it's a noun. Nouns are usually going to be our subjects. Not always, it could be a pronoun, but right, so we want to go right in front of listened, right? So what is our verb then? Listened, obviously. And then who or what listened? Students listened. So students is our subject and listened is our verb. Now what are we doing with our nouns? Box your nouns. So students is a noun. Mrs. Gables isn't a noun though. Why isn't Mrs. Gables a noun? Because we have the apostrophe S. What is apostrophe S? Whenever we have apostrophe S, what does it mean? Ownership or possession. Very good. So if it's ownership or possession, who is she owning or possessing? Who belongs to her? Her students. So what actually would Mrs. Gables be? Remember, one of our questions for adjectives, which one, what kind, how many, or whose students? Get it? Okay, good. So Mrs. Gable's students, okay? So circle that and draw a line to students. Now, I just wanted to do that because I wanted to make sure you understand Mrs. Gables is not our subject. Mrs. Gables is not even a noun. Mrs. Gables is an adjective. If it were Mrs. Gable without the apostrophe S, then it would be a noun, okay? But because it's got the apostrophe S, ownership, who belongs to her or who who is hers? Her students, okay? Now, instructions is another noun. So we underline, or not underline, put a box around instructions, a long one, okay? Is there anything that gives which one, what kind, how many, or whose for that? Yes, her. Whose instructions? Not his instructions, not another teacher's instructions, but her instructions. So her is describing instructions. And then two, we haven't learned about yet. You will learn about that, and it's kind of a fun one to learn. But we now look at closely. And again, it's got the ly, so that's a big hint that, closely is probably an adverb for what word? Listen. So draw an arrow from closely to listen. They listened how? Closely. And remember the adverb questions. How often, and when. Okay? So how often, and when. And then our last sentence that we have at the bottom here, it says, I don't think I can blow that one. I can't do that. Okay, I'll read it nice and clear. Yesterday, Mia's grandpa built a dollhouse for Mia. Okay, yesterday, Mia's grandpa built a dollhouse for Mia. Where is our subject predicate divide? After grandpa, good. And what is our verb, our action? What can you do? Built, very good. You can build something. I know some of you have been building. I've seen some Lego sets and some other connector gardens and fairy gardens and all kinds of stuff that you guys have been building. So you can build, okay? Who or what built? Grandpa built. So you underline grandpa. Now look for all of your nouns. Obviously, grandpa is a noun. Put a box around him. Dollhouse is a noun. Put a box around dollhouse. So I'll read it again. Yesterday, Mia's grandpa built a dollhouse for Mia. Mia is a noun. Put a box around Mia. Not Mia's, remember, not with the apostrophe S. What is that going to be? Very good. That's going to be our adjective. Whose grandpa? Mia's grandpa. Is there another adjective? Yesterday, Mia's grandpa built a dollhouse for Mia. Some of you got it. Letter A, dollhouse. So is always an adjective. So now we only have 4 and yesterday left. Are those anything? I think I heard some of you. I think more of you are starting to get it now. Yesterday is what? An adverb. Very good. An adverb describing what? When grandpa built. Built when? Yesterday, not today, not an hour ago, not now, okay? Yesterday, Mia's grandpa built a dollhouse for Mia. And 4, we don't have that knowledge of that one yet. Well, you'll learn that, I think, in 4th grade. It's called preposition, but don't need to worry about that right now. So yesterday is describing built. Mia's is describing whose grandpa. Grandpa is our subject and a noun. Built is our verb. Is an adjective describing dollhouse, which is a noun, and Mia is another noun. Okay, that's what I want you to know. And when you're looking at those sentences, think that through carefully. All right, so really quickly, I want you to give me adverbs and adjectives. Okay, I have a little story that I'm going to read in another video. It might not be until tomorrow, depends on who gives me adverbs and adjectives when, but I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 adverbs. So I mean, just whoever gives me adverbs, I'll choose some good ones, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 adjectives. So you're going to give me adverbs and adjectives. Okay, so send them to me. A lot of you sent them to me through private comments on this your page work when I asked for the bonuses yesterday. So some of you got bonuses coming today on your math test, which will be exciting. But write those in the comments or send them to me on a piece of paper. You know, you can have your parents take a picture of your paper with some adverb and adjective ideas. So you only need to give me one. You can give me an adverb and an adjective, and then I'll just kind of choose and put them in, and then I'll read our interesting story. Okay, so page 161, because I don't have to go through it with you, I'm not going to stop the video. I know it's getting long, but remember, and it goes through all of those parts of speech that we were just talking about. Verb, noun, adjective, adverb, read carefully. Then look at Think A. Gives you each direction. There are 5. So do number 1 first. Look at sentence number 1 and do what number 1 says. Then go back and look at what number 2 says to do. Then number 3, then number 4, then number 5, and then do that for 1 through 5, okay? Read and think carefully, follow directions carefully, because I will be making you do it over, and I'm not gonna mark what's wrong. I'm just gonna mark a circle next to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 if you've missed anything, and then you're gonna have to go back and make your corrections, okay? Then Think B, read each word, write an adjective to describe each noun, write an adverb to describe each verb. So you have to decide, is this a noun, is this a verb, and what kind of adjective or adverb can I write to describe that? Then write C, write an adjective and an adverb to complete the sentence, okay? So really, I want you to think carefully and, you know, think creatively as you are doing this. So work hard on page 161. Give me those adverbs and adjectives so that I can read off our cute story, and it'll be fun to see what kind of good adjectives and adverbs we were able to come up with. So make sure to leave some in the comments so that I'll know, all right? I'll see you in the next video.